Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the Lionsgate Fiscal 22 First Quarter Conference Call. We'll begin with opening remarks from our CEO, John Feltheimer, followed by remarks from our CFO, Jimmy Barge. After their remarks, we'll open the call for questions. Also joining us on the call today are Vice Chairman Michael Burns, COO Brian Goldsmith, Chairman of the TV Group Kevin Beggs, and Chairman of the Motion Picture Group Joe Drake. And from Starz, we have President and CEO Jeffrey Hirsch, CFO Scott McDonald, President of Domestic Networks Allison Hoffman, and President of International Networks Superna Kale. I'll now turn the call over to John.
Thank you, Nile, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to begin with a few highlights from a strong financial quarter and then drill down in each of our businesses. Turning to our individual businesses, it was a strong financial quarter for Starz, but like the rest of the industry, we were impacted by a reduction in at-home viewership and, importantly, a light content quarter due to COVID-driven production delays. We continued to grow our base of international subscribers in the quarter, but domestic subscribers declined, a temporary drop that we have already reversed since the end of the quarter. In fact, 2 weeks after the quarter ended, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, debuted to the second biggest Starz original series premiere ever, driving over 800,000 global subscriber gross adds in the first week alone and an 80% spike in viewership on the app. As a result, we are again growing our domestic over-the-top subscriber base, which is already back to the March quarter's record levels. And with our biggest and strongest Starz original series slate ever this year, with 12 scripted series compared to 7 last year and a building cadence of 5 tentpole series over the next 3 quarters, we continue to expect Starz global subscriber growth this year to outpace subscriber growth last year. Our confidence is buttressed by a very strong slate that, following Raising Kanan, includes wrestling drama Heels, starring Stephen Amell and Alexander Ludwig, getting great early reviews, the second season of the hit series Power Book 2 Ghost, the 6th season, a fan favorite Outlander, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's crime family drama BMF, the horror comedy Shining Vale starring Courteney Cox, and the debut of Power Book 4 Force. These will be followed next season by high-end properties such as the Watergate drama Gaslit, starring Julia Roberts and Sean Penn, the John Wick prequel The Continental, and The Serpent Queen, based on the dark legend of Catherine de' Medici. Internationally, subscriber growth continued, but was slowed by a light content quarter as well as the global reopening. Here again, we've seen a significant subscriber uptick with the international launch of Raising Kanan, which, along with Ghost, Run the World, and The Girlfriend Experience, proves that great programming for our core audiences in the United States attracts a global audience as well. Combined with Lionsgate feature films and library titles that are driving our theatrical content offering and best-in-class third-party acquisitions of The Great, Gangs of London, and the international premiere of Dr. Death later this quarter, our best of global SVOD programming continues to set us apart as a home for original, adult, fiercely premium content, complementary to every platform and a compelling value proposition for every bundle.
The next question will come from Stephen K. Hall with Wells Fargo. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Maybe a couple for Jeff. So on Starz, could you just unpack that subscriber forecast a little bit about adding more subscribers this year than last? I know you have a big content pipeline coming in the rest of the fiscal year. It just seems like a lot of what we've seen in streaming is that the pandemic might have provided some pull forward. So just curious what gives you the confidence that now that we're coming out of the pandemic, you'll be able to have as strong a year for net adds as you did last year. And then related on Starz International, how should we just think about segment profit for that segment this year? I think maybe you've talked about it on a profitability basis looking similar to last year. Just didn't know if there was any update to that outlook. Thanks.
Hey, Steve, how are you? Yeah, great. As John and Jimmy talked about remarks, it was a very light content quarter for us. We premiered 2 half-hour comedies that were great shows that had I think that coupled with, the world opening back up, it was not our strongest quarter as we had guided on the last call. But as they said also in their prepared remarks, we're very confident that this year will be stronger than last year. We're going from 7 originals to 12 originals. We have 5 tentpoles in the next 3 quarters that drive large growth of subscriber acquisition. We also saw churn at a historic low in this quarter. So those two things coupled together give us great confidence that we will accelerate growth this year. Kanan obviously premiered, as John said in his prepared remarks, to huge numbers, huge viewership. And simply put, if Kanan was 6 weeks earlier, we would be having a different sequential conversation than we're having right now.
And on the segment profit portion of things, Stephen, yeah, you're right. Plus or minus, in line with the prior year investment, and that's really based off the timing of content, et cetera. We like what we're doing there. We like the market share we're capturing. We're leaning into it.
Great, thank you.
Operator, can we get the next question, please?
Once again, if you have a question, please press star then 1. The next question is from Thomas Yeh with Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my questions. 2 quick ones for Jeff. On Starz ARPU, the domestic ARPU appeared to be relatively stable sequentially with last quarter, which is a little lower than the historical trend. I think you had cited some heavier promotional activity happening then. Did that continue into the quarter? And then a related kind of question, if you can give us an update on the unit economics across linear and US OTT, and whether or not the mix of direct versus retail partners kind of impacts ARPU going forward, what the outlook is there, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
So on the ARPU basis for the quarter sequentially, we've said that ARPU will fluctuate around, $5.75 to $6.10, depending on when subs come in the quarter and some of the promotional parts of the business. Again, churn was really low in the quarter, a historic low, and so that kind of stabilized it a little bit. But we didn't have, as much coming in the front door, so it was actually pretty flat sequentially. When you look at ARPU linear versus domestic, I'll remind everybody that over the last couple of years, we've moved most of our linear deals to be a la carte deals. So over 82% of our linear deals are a la carte, and so over time, that a la carte ARPU has actually started to collide with the OTT ARPU because, in essence, it's a rev share deal, and so you actually see those numbers coming together pretty quickly. Long term, we think that again, like I said, somewhere between $5.80 and $6.10 for the domestic business.